Unfortunately, I couldn't find it. And indeed, we have um, Anthony Browder, who's doing digging around Nubia. Uh, he showed a symbol which is like I think it's the Odinkra symbol uh, that was from some either Egypt or Nubia, and that was interesting. Now, uh, I think it's one of the latest presentation he did actually.
I've seen the
Yeah,
presentation, and I just think that it's uh, it's overstated, and so I don't know if if he was in the tomb of the 25th dynasty and he finds a symbol that he believes is the Guillaume, or I mean, sorry, the Sankofa symbol. Um, and the Sankofa symbol is very popular. But the fact of the matter is, in ancient Egyptian culture or Tawi culture, the symbol is basically Bat, the same woman that you see on the Nermer palette. It's a bot. It's a bot figure, a bot pendant. So it has nothing to do directly with West Africa at that time period. Now, West Africa certainly could have gotten that symbol through um, a number of time periods, maybe directly from the period when Mentuhotep goes to Chad, and as they relate to uh, writing and symbols, it can get diffused because we haven't seen all. We only have one piece of the 10th, 11th dynasty Mentuhotep, 12th dynasty Mentuhotep in Chad, so we don't know how much of the information passed, but we know we have portable art. So they have a Dinkra female figure, a fetish female figure that they call a Dinkra doll that looks like the Ankh. So it could have been through that period. It could have been through the period where Egypt fell, and then you have lots of North Africa using a lot of material from ancient Egypt uh, during the Greek mystery system period and the trade. So it could have went down to North Africa. The fact of the matter is, West Africa in itself is relatively young for the peopling because of what happened during the sub-Saharan slave trade, and so you have groups of people who went deep south to survive Islam, come back and retake areas of land. So the icon themselves is not that old, and so I think that if he presents the material, he should present the material and then give it to the scholars or researchers to make an analysis. But he can do whatever he wants to do. I mean, for our people are so fragile that they take images without looking at whole periods of time periods and looking at all of the models. So our people are so fragile to want to believe and to worship and to without doing the work. And I'm against that stuff. I'm against that spirituality stuff. I think that's very individual. Africa's form of spirituality was serve the king. If you serve the king, he would give you an offering, a Hotep dinar sud, an offering that the king gives for burial that will allow you on your spiritual journey. It wasn't because of your individual BS, it's because you served the people and the king and the nation. All this individual spirituality is more like Christianity disguised. I said it.
and that's where we disagree.
Oh, we disagree?
Yes, we have talked about it so many times.
What do you disagree about? Let the
Well,
people know.
when you use the term BS, referring to the Kemetic spirituality, and every time I can do the same thing and talk
No, we
about.
can't. Me and you. Okay,
I,
we
I
both
can
know.
always talk about Dr. Riketi Amen, who is a Hemet Necher. She's a priest, a Kemetic priest, so, but
Yeah,
that
you
is
don't
not
know
a
her
problem.
personally, so don't.
It's
Yeah,
true, but I mean, I don't know her personally, but it is
yeah.
stated
Well,
publicly
we could
for the
just do it.
record that she
We can
is
do
a
it. Me
priestess.
and you, we could do it right now. What's the term for spirituality in Kemet, and what's the text?
I'm not aware of a word for spirituality, but what difference does it make? Reketi Amen is a Hemet Necher.
Oh,
She
you're
is a
looking at
priest,
people.
but
We do the work.
you're not criticizing her for being a priestess. But you criticize other Kemetic people for being priests. We know why. You said it many
She
times, and
doesn't
I agree.
promote.
I agree.
She only promotes the study of the ancient Egyptian text. What she promotes privately about her own of her own thinking um, is is respectful. But do you have a paper where she's promoting it? Do you have a video where she's promoting it? You don't have all the time. I know that she participated with the Kemetic group in Chicago. I'll think of the name in the Kemetic Institute of Chicago, um, with Dr. Jacob Carruthers. I know she participated with that group as they, and then ASCAC had a kind of provision to study the work, to give the people who want to believe in spirituality some accurate work. But when I talk to you, don't bring up a person, bring up a paper, bring up let's bring up the terms.
I'm sorry, but
So
her title is enough. And you said yourself, you mentioned the Chicago group, and you mentioned also that entity within ASCAC. So it's not a mystery. She is a Kemetic priestess, but she gets a pass. And like I said, that's where we disagree, and we have talked about it many times. Now, indeed, I agree. Of course, someone that claims to be a Kemetic priest must have a certain level of knowledge of the meta nature. Of course, it doesn't mean being fluent. It's difficult to be fluent in the meta nature, but more than what we've been seeing so far. I'm talking about the knowledge of the meta nature. That's clear, and I agree with you on that. But your stance is clear regarding religion or spirituality. Your stance is
yeah,
clear.
well,
But
my
but
whole
but
thing is,
I will appreciate. And I mean, you're the master of your destiny. But I think it would be fair if you don't go that hard against Kemetic people when you don't do the same, or you don't seem to do the same
well,
with
I
the
have
other
a rule,
Abrahamic believers.
but you know my rule is. My rule is if you don't have any demonstrated expertise on the language or the writing of the Nile Valley, not the language, but the writing, uh, then you can't call yourself any of that. So if
I,
you
I, I
can't,
agree. I agree. But
so let's
for example,
outside of that, I don't attack Infidisi Jehudimus. Um, he has a statement all in Metanetia about being spiritual warriors, right? It's well written and it's in the Metanetia. That's an incredible feat to do a modern day uh, uh, thinking using all metal nature. I don't critique Dr. Ricchetti. Her work stands for herself. She is an incredible woman, incredible scholar first, and then well, woman first because that is in a higher order, and then she's an incredible scholar, and her expertise on the text is incredible. I don't criticize Asar and Ka because Asar and Ka has, as a young brother, attempted to find the text that the ancient Egyptians or the people of Tawi actually used. So, and his meta nature is very very good. And so I only and then I don't attack people uh, who have good character, even if I don't disagree. I don't attack the brother who's the head of the shrine of Anu. Um, uh, he has shown me that he has good character. He'll listen to the argument, right? He may not agree with me, but he will listen to the. He will try to be a good judge, right? I've never seen him, even though I've said harsh things about Kemetic people. He's not come up and said anything directly, and I've talked to him personally. People underneath him, that's another story. But he himself, he has good character. Professor Small is not an expert in the meta nature, but has studied very many spiritual systems. I don't critique him. He's my teacher. Um, there are only little minor points that I disagree, but 95% of the work that he's done, I agree, and he gets better year after year. So, but the people who have no demonstrated expertise in the metal nature, who I have big criticisms for that. You want it, like I'll tell you, even though you know the meta nature, this word spirituality is a European construct. Show me, we can debate, but you show me in text where they are saying that they are spiritual. Show me what text you want to bring
Yeah,
up.
I understand where you're coming from, definitely. But spirituality, I've said it a few times. This is a word that our people, amongst the conscious community people, and most of our people who used to be Abrahamic, they like to use that word because they want to detach themselves from religion. Because we know what our experience has been. We're talking about, uh, thousands of years of slavery with this Abrahamic belief system combined. So they like to say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but the practices of Kemet or Tawi could be labeled as religion. I don't have a problem with that. They were definitely real serious with it. It was regular. It was consistent. We have the depiction. We have the writings. There was several rituals. So it is a reality. But I understand they don't want to use the word religion. They will use spirituality. But you said yourself, you respect Jeuti Mess, um I'm sorry, Mfudishi Jehoti. Uh, you respect his work, and he talks about spirituality. So you 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 don't follow any religion. I understand. You know, but you don't
But
need to attack.
Impedici
You
Jehudi Mas, I'm younger than him. I'm 20 something years younger than him. I see him often and we talk often, right? He has the same rule. His rule is if you don't know the metal nature, then you are limited. We have the same rule. Now, me and him, we can talk about specific things. And if you've seen the last thing where I did on Sonetta Studios, Brother Sonetta's channel with
at
Impedici,
the museum.
yeah, you
Yeah,
see us.
I've seen it. I've
We
seen it.
talk and we can see agreement. Sometimes we don't have to totally disagree. Sometimes we can agree to disagree, and so I don't. My whole critique, and Dr. Issa has said something. He has said something over here. Serving the king is serving the nation. The king comes from a family that has the most powerful clan in the corporate world, and I agree with that as far as understanding the practices of Africans throughout. They serve their divine kings. They
And you
they
said
don't
the
have,
kings were crazy.
huh?
And you said the kings of Kemet were crazy.
No, the priests were crazy.
No, the kings. You said it on my platform when we talked about the pyramids.
No, when it comes to building pyramids, yeah. When it comes to pyramids and not defending themselves, yeah. One pyramid, two pyramid, three pyramid, that's
You, you,
great.
you,
Not
I don't think it's
don't take
fair.
me out of context. You
No, no.
want
Oh, I mean, people can. I mean, I can't remember which video it is, but I didn't put any
no,
special
I'm not.
title.
I
But you
studied
first,
ancient Kemet. My whole thing is if you're using the uh, the labor of your people to deify yourself, and there are other concerns like food, like defense, right? then you're a bad king.
Well,
And
but the
hurry
thing
up
the
and
thing
get
is
it.
that we don't have any indication that food was lacking. You know,
Yes, we do.
we
We have the famine stella. We have several texts. We after the famine stella. I mean, before the
but
famine
no,
stella, we have Antefi. We
but
have
not not,
Antefi. We
not,
have the
not
whole 12th dynasty.
is it because of the construction of the pyramids? No.
No,
So
it's
so
it's
so
it's it's,
and
it's part of that. It's
well, I don't know because we
well, I
have the
do.
text. Okay, so are you saying because they built the pyramid they lacked food?
Yeah, because it was in the best interest of their labor that they were being attacked, and two, they could have put their engineering and ingenuity into something that would be long term instead of deifying the king.
But it's probably the longest documented empire ever. You know,
Yeah,
this
with
is
the
a
faith.
testament. When you say about defense, and they did not they defended themselves, I think it's really unfair. If people attack you, and there's so many people attack you, and you just happen to be conquered, it's not your fault. It's the fault of the conqueror. You cannot put that on them. It's really unfair. It's like tomorrow people snatch you up the street, they kidnap you, they send you somewhere, they kill you, and I'm saying, well, brother Reggie, he was too busy criticizing Kemetic people instead of defending himself. He wouldn't have got kidnapped and sent to a basement and killed. That's just completely
Well,
unfair.
okay, so I'll give you a model. Anytime that you want to have a conversation on it, you can. It is the instructions of King Keti, Nasut Keti, to his heir Merikari. That text became the coffin text, and that text ultimately became the Book of the Dead or the Purdam Haru. In that text, it talks about the responsibilities of a king, not like Ptahhotep, where it talks about how you should live as a citizen, right? And you should follow the Wat and Ankh, right? The path of life, right? And you should be a guru ma. That is the domain of the human citizen. Merikari talks about the role of the king and what a king should do. And when Mentuhotep's people ultimately defeated Keti's people, it left the delta free for the Asiatics to come in. So we can argue text. I mean, I have a good knowledge of the text, and and so we don't have to argue opinions. We can argue king's statements. I like to argue the statements of the king, and I can show it to you in the meta match. So,
But what's the correlation with the accusation that people of Kemet did not defend themselves well enough?
yeah,
And I
well,
deserve to be criticized for that. I mean, they were attacked. They were attacked. If I was to make an analogy, it's like me saying, well, the our ancestors, the brothers and sisters in Africa, they failed to defend themselves, and the Europeans captured them and sent them to the New World. Would that
yeah,
be fair?
yeah. I think the Shekanta Diop in pre-colonial Africa, I think he makes those points. Africans were feudal. He criticized the divine kingship model. His other books talks about Trajan corrected with a federated Africa. Um, the text that I am talking about was of King Keti. King Keti's situation was basically if you fail in Maat, right, your opponent in Maat, you should be killed. And he talked about attacking the Asiatics until they abhor Egypt, right? So that they don't want to come back, murder them, kill them, right? They know who they are. They're like crocodiles on his bank, right? Lo, the miserable Asiatic, right? He attacks without warning, right? So we have the text. You want to talk to me, good brother? you pull out the text as your arguments. Otherwise, we're just talking. Because you're a meta nature student, meta nature, I respect your meta nature. I respect your work. We have the boundary stella of Sinwar said, right? Sinwar said if you don't protect our borders, then you're not a subject of mine. You're not a son of mine. So we
But
have
Brother Reggie, can we
yes,
say that the people of Kemet did not protect their borders? Being conquered doesn't mean you did not protect your border. It just means that the other party just prevail.
yeah, Pianki. We have the text of Pianki. Yeah, we have the text of Pianki, and Pianki goes and I forgot the new do Technut or Technuff or something like that, who's siding with the Assyrians, right? So he basically comes into Egypt formal from Nubia, and then he tries to he retakes Egypt, and he gets those people that were siding with the Libyans and the Assyrians, and so so we have Taharka. Taharka now, who is an heir in that family, he fights the Assyrians, and then the famous complaint to Amun, to Amen, that you promised me these things in my coronation, and they were not true. What I asked you to do is protect my family, make them allow them to live. But he complained to Amun, and then in the periods when they went back to Nubia, they went back to their old traditional deities, and it took them a while, but they left. They created another script, and they went back to their own uh, native native languages in their regions, and and so this is after Sparta. Sparta was a Theban, and then later they made diplomatic considerations, and that's Dr. Farage's work, where the Arabs was coming in and they joined the Byzantines, and King Soko converted to Christianity for diplomatic reasons to help stop the Arab invasions. So there are a lot of considerations. We have the text, we have the information.
Then there was a Bact Treaty where they were supposed to send 360 slaves every year to Muslim Egypt, which Dr. Wesley Mohammed labeled as being the victor, having the leverage. So they determined the terms of the treaty,
Yeah,
of
and
the agreement.
Dr. John Henry Clark was the first to teach us as a professor of mine
But
about
that just doesn't make sense at all. When you're the victor,
what
when you
doesn't.
have the Wesley Mohammed in his book Black Arabia and the African Origin of Islam,
Yeah.
when addressing the Bact Treaty, he showed the terms. There's other terms, but the most striking one, the most important one, at least for me, is that Nubia was to send 360 slaves every year to Muslim Egypt.
Yeah.
And Wesley Muhammad wrote that the Nubians were the victor, they had the leverage, so they determined the terms of the agreement. And that to me is close to being insane.
Well,
How are you gonna have a fight against somebody? You are victorious. You determine the term and you say, well, you know what? I won the battle, I won the fight, I won the war, so I'm gonna send 360 slaves every year to you.
so you have to read. There is a actual text of the governor of Egypt talking to the king of Dongola at that time, reminding him of a treaty that was formed to stop the Arabs from attacking, which was basically like, send us tribute and we won't get hungry. We won't attack you, and so that was the terms. Now the Arabs, at first seem to be asking, well, the people that you are in conflict with, the other Africans that you're in conflict with, them, give us those people. Don't kill them. Give us those people, right, as slaves. Um, uh, and at that time, it might have seemed okay, because normally Africans don't have prisons. When they capture you, you either become a retainer or you die. So that's the lure of slavery. It's a very complicated thing that got Africans involved, because normally Africans, when they're fighting, when they defeat a king that's in conquest, they would kill them all, kill men, women, children, babies, everybody. Slavery presented an alternative. Well, okay, we won't kill them. You want them, take them. We don't want to ever see them again. That is a very seductive part analysis that people don't look at in the human psychology, because certainly Africans will kill every group. If you're a divine king, I'm fighting your God, my God against your God. I'm killing all your worshipers. That's just something in
I
ancient
don't.
practices.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. It might have happened in
Wait,
some places, but
you cannot not agree. You're going to have to tell me a source that that's not true.
you shoot the burden of proof is on the claimant. So you can
No,
show me some source. You can show me some source where, as a rule, Africans, when they engage in war against fellow Africans, when they won, they kill everybody. I'm not aware of that,
okay.
including
So
babies.
yeah,
But
so
but but do you agree with Wesley Mohammed that when the
oh,
back treaty, sorry, what was established, that the Nubians were the victor? Do you agree? And that they determined that they would send 360 slaves every year
the
to.
context, the whole analysis of a treaty is a treaty. It's a settlement where there's terms. So the invader or the conqueror sets the terms. His analysis in that case is not a good analysis. Analysis, if there's a treaty, that means we come to a conclusion where both groups don't fight, so we come to a settlement. What do you want, and what do we want? And this settlement lasted for 400 to 500 years until the Arabs began to say, claim, you're not giving us what you promised on the treaty, and so
Indeed.
we're going to encroach on your land.
Mm,
And then they started doing that,
mm,
encroaching on that land.
mm.
Um,
Well, I agree
so
with you. It's not a good
so
analysis,
I
good
can
euphemism, but
yeah. So as a to supplement what I've said, I have information on King Xana fighting fighting the people who they were trying to Christianize, fighting them, uh, um, and basically fighting them, basically enslaving some and eradicating them. We have King Azana going and fighting Moreau, or what was left of Moreau, right? Eradicated, eradicated Moreau, eradicated. There's nothing standing in Moreau. There's no record, right? We have that. We have the Akan Wars and the festivals where the Ashanti um, would would kill hundreds of people during a festival, one of the festivals, the Yam Festival. The So my proposition is well supplemented, and then we have it in the Near East world, where we have it on the in the Near East world, where we have it on the Meshe tablet, where the Moabs are trying to completely annihilate every man, woman, and child of the so-called Israel groups of people. So these things are not these things are not uncommon. The Egyptians unfortunately, they were less brutal. They were actually less brutal than a lot of the other groups of people, even in their manners of war. They didn't sneak attack you. They did formations. They announced when they was going to attack you. Uh, they bathed before bloodshed. They bathed after bloodshed. Um, and so we have their writings, at least the ones that they said, but they did hack off hands and feet and things like that, um, and they did execute people. So I have records. So when you, it's time
That's
and
not the same
material.
as everybody, including babies, though. But if you don't mind, I just want to show to the people just so that they can see
Host.
uh, what I was talking about. This is the book Black Arabian. I asked the PDF. I have the book somewhere. I mean, I read the book. He challenged me to debate. I accepted, and he backed down. That's his right and his choice. Um, uh, so here we have the terms. Now we have number one, the citizen of each country are allowed free passage to the other with security guaranteed by the host country. Number two, a mosque was to be built in Nubia and a church in Egypt. And number three, 360 slaves annually sent by Nubia to Egypt. And we are told that it's in exchange for wheat and wine and cloth. So, and later on here it says, um, this part of the agreement is often described as a tribute imposed on the hapless Nubians by the lustful Muslim slavers, a covert plan to eventually conquer Sudan. But this interpretation completely fails to take proper notice of a simple fact. The Nubians were the victors and therefore had the leverage. So there it is. And this is a PhD, Dr. Wesley Mohammed, who wrote that. And actually, even before that, no, I don't want people to see that. Hold on. Before that, he talked about the Coptic Christians welcoming the the Muslims as welcoming them as some sort of saviors. A bit
Well,
of
do you have a
romanticizing
primary
effect.
source? Do you have a
Primary
primary
source for
source?
what? For what?
What Wesley Muhammad is saying. Let's see his sources. Go back to that. So
Uh,
let's see.
he's talking. Well, I will put it back up, but he's talking about the Bact Treaty.
Yeah, I know what he's
Um,
talking about. I want to see his
yeah.
sources. What is
Well,
he?
to my knowledge, there isn't any original copy. I mean, there's mention of it on some writings, but I don't think there's any original of the Back Treaty
Yeah,
in my
well,
view.
see, that's why you deal with someone like me, who's a researcher, who will show you a primary subject. So I want to see Wesley Muhammad's thing, and I'll show your audience a
Well,
actual primary source.
the the Back Treaty is usually, I would say, most historians in the world agree with the authenticity of the Back Agreement. It's like with
See,
the Bible,
you're
the,
missing an opportunity.
with
You're
with the
missing an
Bible,
opportunity. See,
we don't have any originals for the writings of the books of the Bible, but people still believe in them.
no, but
Nobody's
did you hear what I said?
you ask for
I
some
asked
proverb.
you. I asked you to see what his. First of all, when a person makes a point, then if it's not their point, then they footnote it. I want to see his sources.
Okay,
Then I will show you a primary source. So there
well,
are,
well, well.
yeah.
I don't have the footnote right. I mean, I can always put it back up, but it might take some time to find out the appropriate footnote.
I want
But
to see the footnote. Put it back up.
yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so he
I
says 803 and
but
804. He says the back treaty blacks twice on national fronts caused the Arabs to adopt a peaceful relationship with these countries lasting 600 years. 804. The 600-year peace was a result of a Baca agreement signed by both parties at the conclusion of the 651-652 battle. The Bac was a non-aggressive pact and a trade agreement between Muslim Egypt and Nubia terms that was determined by the victors, Nubia, right? So he doesn't footnote that, and so that's a problem. Okay, so
But
then
we have a few footnotes here. We have an author
no, I
called
want to see
Lap
803 and 804. Go down.
803 and 04. 803 is that's Walter Williams' discussion of black civilization.
Okay, so that's not
Uh,
primary, that's secondary. And
eh, eh,
then
eh, eh, eh,
805. Okay,
well,
so here's the thing.
but for
Here's
the
the
back
thing.
to treaty, it appears that he might be quoting from Lapidus' conversion of Egypt. But the back to treaty, I mean, this is usually accepted by historians. But somebody.
No, no, no. See, this is the difference between when you're talking to me and you're just talking, right?
I
I'm
was
not
quoting a PhD. That's all. My scene was quoting a PhD. That's all.
good brother, good brother. In doing this work, right? In doing this work, when you're dealing with someone like Dr. Wesley Muhammad, you present to his secondary source or uh,
But feel free to ask him. You can ask him.
no,
I mean,
I talk. I see the difference between me and you. I actually end up talking to him.
I talked to him as well, brother. Don't play that game, please. It's not
When do
necessary.
you talk to him? When do you
I,
talk to him?
I, I talked to him when we were discussing how we will go about the debate. We talked about the time period of the debate, because yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that to brag, but he publicly challenged me to a debate. I accepted publicly, and we spoke about it on the phone. And then he backed down. I think he
Okay.
realized that he was going to get crushed. So I spoke to him on the phone, and you can ask him if I'm lying or not. You know, but that's besides the point. You can ask him about the what
No,
what's his
okay. So,
for the
so
back to treaty for the back treaty. You can feel
all
free
right.
to
So, can I
ask him.
give you since you or do you want a primary source on the elements of the Bach Treaty? Yes or no? It's
Feel
up
free,
to you.
brother. Feel free.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen. Share screen. Okay.
But my thing, and I mentioned that many times here on the screen to say that the Nubians were the victors, and they determined the agreement, and it says that you have to send 360 slaves is greatly problematic. In terms of logic, in terms of common sense, it's just weird, and I'm sure others will agree with me.
Yeah. 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 Listen. When a person makes a point like that and say the Nubians were the victors and they set the terms, then if it's not footnoted, you take it and you throw it in the garbage. You don't just keep arguing it. You just say that it's an unfootnoted conjecture, right? And then you move on. And then you ask the person, do you have any primary sources to make your point? So I have a primary source, and I will show you my primary source. It is an 8th century Arabic letter to the king of Nubia, and it talks about three papyrus scrolls that were found, some in Sahidic Coptic and one in Arabic, and then they have a translation of it. So let's just see if I could show it. So I'll just go through it. Um, can I? Let's see if I can blow this up. One second. I know. Toggle thumbnail. Okay, fit to view. See if it. Okay, full screen. Great. Okay, so let's just blow this up. And how do I do it? So the Arabic scroll is an official letter of complaint from the governor of Egypt, Musa ibn Kab, to the king of Nubia, sent in the autumn of 758. Since the king Ibrahim of Nubia had his official residence in Dongola, far to the south, the finding of Qasar Ibrahim letter of an address to him calls for some explanation. The associated Coptic scrolls, none of them bear the verses, the names of either the sender and intended recipient, but you do have the Arabic. So in the Arabic is this Nubia, I'm sorry, this governor, this Arab governor, in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, from this governor to this king of Nubia and Makari, peace be upon the friends of Awila, of God and those who obey him, to whom do I praise God, other than whom there is no God. To continue, you sing, you know about which an agreement which was made with you and the fulfillment of it, which you took upon yourselves, so preserving your blood and your property. So when I show this, when I show this to Dr. Wesley Muhammad, it does not say in this authentic Arabic piece that the Nubians were the victors. It says right here, to them do I praise God, other than whom there is no God. To continue, you sing, you
I see a double already because I don't hear any sound anymore. I see you though, but it looks like your screen is frozen. It might be a connection issue. Let me check on the YouTube. Go on YouTube. What does it say on YouTube?
know,
Oh, now I can hear you.
am I back
You
on?
yeah, you're back on. For like maybe 10, 15 seconds, we couldn't hear you. Your screen was frozen.
Okay, so in that text, let's go back to that text. It
We
does
heard you to the point where you said, yes, indeed, that in your original, it doesn't say that the
Yeah.
Nubians were the
So
victors.
here, when I show this primary text in this translation, Dr. Wesley Muhammad is untruthful. Why is this thing right here? I don't know why this is uh, in my way, but here it says,
So basically, Wesley Muhammad just lied to romanticize Islam.
yeah, he lied. He lied. Why? Because I have a primary source. I don't know why this is not why this is not. Uh, but it basically says, okay, let's see if I can get one part of it where it says, you continue, you sing, you know about what's an agreement. Okay, I'm gonna, something happened when uh, let's see if I could just um, get rid of the full screen. Okay, great. Okay, so this is how you show that Dr. Wesley Muhammad was untruthful and lied. When you show a primary source, he says, you continue, you saying you know about an agreement which was made with you and the fulfillment of it, which you took upon yourselves, so preserving your blood and property. If you fulfill it, God blessed and exalted it. He says in his book, fulfill the compact of God, which you made a compact, and do not breach the oath after it's been offended. And you have made God your guarantee, or verily God knows about what you do, blah, 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 strictly Islam. So in this particular text that I read, again, he is the governor saying, you know about an agreement which you made to protect yourselves and your blood and your property. That kills whatever he says from wherever he says it if he doesn't have a primary. So here is the document. You people who read Islam, you could read it. It doesn't have all the diacritical marks and all of that stuff like that. It's an old Arabic, uh, but you say that Arabic is perfect, so then you should be able to read the perfect Arabic. Next, right? You should be able to read it. This is now whether or not the Quran was written at this particular time. They're not. They didn't. They didn't quote the Quran directly. They quoted some passage. Now we go to over here um, where they talk about the conflict, and then I think we go to page 90, line 93, 94. Or okay. Or it's, okay. So then he complains in 54, not 94, that you are liable to the Bakt of several years which you have not fulfilled, as for that which you have sent in accordance which the Bakt. You have sent that in which there is no good. You've sent the one-eyed, or the lame, or the weak old man, or the young boy. So look, sing into that about which I have written to you, and hasten, threatening them, the dispatching to us of your remaining liability according to the Bach for the years for which you owe and did not sing. We want more slaves. We want them all, right? You owe us, right? And don't send us that in which there is no good, for we do not accept it. And sing to us the merchant of Muhammad and the wealth which was him that you robbed, unless he has been killed, in which case sing the 1,000 dinars, his blood money together with the wealth, which was him, and sing. So that basically the Arabs, the good old Arabs, those that believe in Allah and the Prophet, is basically doing something which is haslam taslam, like surrender to Islam, right? It says over here, if you sing, do not obey, I shall have my view concerning what is between you and me. God willing, I have wanted to exceed the usual bounds in exhorting you and to take proof against you. Peace be upon the friends of God and those who obey him, written by this Monio on Sunday the 12th. So when you do scholarship and you do it with someone like Dr. Wesley Muhammad, you bust his ass with a primary. And I do this regularly so I'm just showing you how to bust his ass, bust a good brother's ass on his citations are secondary at best.
I did just that, I just that. Just like I did with Sam Hotep, for those who wonder, back in 2011. Sam Hotep is the one who said he will write an article about the Hebrews in Kemet. But I did write two pieces. I never had any answer. It's fine. I didn't expect any anyway, because the premise was whack from the first place, or weak, if I want to be diplomatic. And Western Mohammed, I have the articles on my website. It's also in the description of the
Yeah,
videos,
but
that
Asar Imhotep is not
that was in
relevant.
passing, but just Wesley Mohammed, I dealt with this claim of the
Oh, you're talking about Wesley
Arabs.
Muhammad. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
about and I have the article on my website, very detailed article about the call of Prophet Muhammad and the Arabs of the 7th century, using the Hadith, using the Arabic literature of the Sunnah. Because there, what you read for the layman, using today's vernacular, it's like, uh you didn't pay rent. You know what it is. It is what it is. So your product is no good. You didn't send us some good ish. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna get down or lay down. That's in today's vernacular for the street
Haslam
vernacular.
Taslam.
Yeah,
Haslam Taslam is
So
the letters that the Prophet Muhammad sent to all the other
well,
people talking about surrender to Islam. Haslam Taslam.
so
Don't say
so
Assalamu alaikum to me. Say what you really mean, which is Haslam Taslam. That's what you mean. Don't say Assalamu alaikum, and don't say Assalam means peace. It don't mean peace. It means surrender.
submission. I
It
mean
means
submission.
surrender. So you want me to surrender, and you're trying to do it. Then you it's basically like a prison booty bandit telling you to give up your stuff. Do you want to do it the easy way, or do you
Easy
want to
way
do
or
it
the
the
hard
hard
way.
way? But it
Yeah.
don't matter. He's asking you to give it up. So they're asking you to do it the easy way or the hard way. The easy way with taxes and some treaty. But I just proved that Dr. Wesley Muhammad, with a primary document, isn't wrong, and he should correct his scholarship.
Which he will
So
probably not do, because his goal is to romanticize Islam, while claiming that the Kemetic people are romanticizing Kemet.
we
But
are.
well, who? The neophytes or the scholars?
Who the scholars?
Well, Dr. Theophilo Benga, for example.
He's not. He's not. He's not. He's not romanticizing. He doesn't really even talk directly to us. He talks in papers. He's you can meet him at conferences. He doesn't argue with YouTubers. It's the
That's true.
Kemetic, and he's not Kemetic. He's a scholar that studies Africa. He's not Kemetic. Dr. Theophilo Benga is not what you call a Kemetic scholar. He is a premier uh, African scholar. He's premier, right? He looks at all Africa, right? He's premier. Um, Dr. Mario Beatty does not argue with YouTubers. I unfortunately asked him to engage in a conference, a debate with Saw and Hotep, which uh, was points against me um, uh,
Nobody's
because
perfect. We all make mistakes. I did as well.
points against me where Dr. Mario Beatty decided for that he would take on that, and so I was able to present with Dr. Mario Beatty and against Asar. And somewhere the video is there. It used to be on Baba TV where Asar made his statement. It's no longer there for some particular reason. I don't know
That is-
why.
Somebody probably asked for removal.
Yeah, but so those things happen. So writing is funny. Like Sanetta's channel is simple. You say something, you come up and you defend or you prevail or get your ass busted and shut up. And next, so Sanetta's platform is Gladiator platform. You got a premise, you come up, you got something to say, you can get your whole career ruined. Sometimes that's acceptable. Most of the times that's acceptable when you deal with stuff like that. So in front of a Sanetta's audience, if Dr. Wesley Muhammad said something like that, and I was talking to him and he wanted to debate me, I would I would I would ruin him on that, not on all of his work, but just on that particular notion live.
Yeah.
But he's just one of the people
But
yeah.
but even his main premise, and I heard you once talking about Wesley Muhammad and this work regarding the black Arabs, and I don't know what that is, I mean, I'm focusing once again on the 7th century. If people want to tell me 50,000 years BC they were black, I don't deal with that type of dates. But what he has merely done to claim that Muhammad was black is just some linguistic acrobatics and linguistic gymnastics with the word Abyad. And the word Abyad, once again, is the main word for white in Arabic, you know. And he's using, that quote from Lisan an Arab, where he says that, when the Arabs say that someone is Abyad or white, they don't mean the complexion of, I'm paraphrasing, but like, not like the Romans and stuff like that. And that's about it. And there is the quote from at Tabari, if I'm not mistaken, or at Tirmidhi, actually, it might be at Tirmidhi, where Muhammad is described as Asmar, which is the word for brown. Some would translate it as tan. And the author of at Tirmidhi, or at Tabari, one of the two, says that this hadith, this narration, is odd, harib.
Yeah.
So the best it could come up is one narration where Prophet Muhammad is described as brown, but it is labeled as odd or strange by the author. Besides Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Muhammad is described as being white and not being brown. So he's not even brown according to the Sunnah. So it's crazy to me that some people will
Well,
say that,
it's a moot argument because the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has stated many times who he
that he was
feels
a
that
white man.
Muhammad was. So
And
why is
Farrakhan
Wesley
also has stated
Muhammad
that
going
publicly.
against the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is his teacher, said who Muhammad was.
Well, but Wesley
And
Muhammad
he
talked about that publicly, and he did that bug dancing that he's very good with. He said, "Well, there's something that we call literary intent. What did the author meant? You don't know what he meant. I don't know what he meant."
what did
And
the prophet, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, say about the prophet Muhammad? Right? right? What complexion was the Prophet Muhammad?
Well, he said, and that's the theology of time. We have the audio, we have the book. He says the Muhammad that was here 1400 years ago was a white man.
That's it. So there's no reason that a student minister of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad should be correcting um, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm not listening to that
Yeah,
because
well,
if you don't,
that's what he did. He wrote a book about that. He made presentations about that, DVDs that he sold, and but when it comes to this statement from Elijah Muhammad, he had the nerve to say, "You don't know what he meant. I don't know what he meant." And he's trying to play on the white means pure, white doesn't mean black back in the days, and
I'm not
you
trying to
cannot.
hear that. No, neither
Yeah,
should we. It's
yeah.
it's what
Well, I'm
his.
just saying what he stated publicly.
I
That's
care
his word.
less. I
Yeah.
see. Once I know what his teachers said, right? I don't care what he says because now he has to say on record that he's contradicting his teacher.
Well,
So
exactly. He's basically saying he's not contradicting his teacher, and that's where it's weird. That's where he followed his logic of making weird statements such as milk is the food of the gods, milk is liquid sunlight, that he supports Dianetics,
I'm not.
but everybody's cool with that. Even when he says throw Kemet in the garbage can, throw Maat in the trash can, throw Amen Rad the slave making God away, the conscious community is cool with that.
Well, you're mixing a lot of things. Dianetics has to do with
That's what he said. He said he supports that effort of Dianetics. He said that I have
well,
it on tape.
I don't, me myself, I don't not support a teaching method. I don't support the people of Dianetics, but it is it's a tool. So I don't, the issue is with them. I look at, there are a
It's
lot
just
of,
pseudo medicine coming from a negrophobic person called Aaron Herbert. This is the Church of Scientology.
I
Dianetics is
understand, I understand that, but you know what?
so.
You
How,
understand?
how can you say it's a tool? It's like
Oh
me saying
yeah.
that it's like me saying that crystals is a tool and the
Uh,
chakra and metaphysics is a tool.
yeah. So here's the thing. So when people use tools, whether they are not, tools are consistent. They tell you what the rules are, right? So it has to do with a conversation, right? Dianetics is actually a military tool, right? Where groups of people keep their people in place. They get to know what their thoughts are, right? It's a very, very effective tool. You may not know, but it's done in military, right? Every CIA, FBI, they have to be debriefed. It's a debrief tool that's been used for ages to allow for someone to come out with what are their problems dealing with a particular activity. So after the mystery
Right.
systems have used it.
Be, be,
I don't.
be, but I'm sorry, but being clear and debriefing is not the same thing. I mean, they talk about Xenu. They have like billion of year contract. It's way deeper than just a debriefing.
No, on there's some mysticism attached to it, but the fact of the matter is, when you're in the military and you get debriefed and you're clear, that
Mm,
means you're clear. Now
I
you
get
can
it.
put on the extra stuff on the fact of the matter is, but they're running an organization and they need to figure out the people who have some problems and some contradictions. And if they're not clear, then they have to work it out. We know that this person's not clear. Let's figure out what's going on. You have to understand military science. Not saying that you don't. I'm
Hmm.
talking to our audience. Dianetics is a functional tool. If you take off the BS and you see it for what it is, then the problem with our community is every jack and every rabbit and everybody with a Kemetic name or a Muslim name or a Christian name thinks that they're God's gift to our people, right? And it's bananas. There's no discipline, right? There's no structure.
Yeah,
Everybody is
I
super
agree with that.
egotistical. We cannot win a war. We cannot win a war. We cannot not win a war. We can't save ourselves with our individualism and it starts with that bullshit spirituality. Spirituality is individualism run wild.
Oh,
Okay, I
man.
said enough. Brother Reggie's leaving.
Oh
I
man.
said enough.
Okay. Thank you for
That,
calling me,
all
Brother
that, all
Reggie.
that, all that. You got a teacher. Here's the thing: you got a
You
teacher,
you
but
you you're not telling Reketi Amen that she's dealing with some bullshit spirituality, do you? You would not tell her that, would you? Or Mfudishi.
here's the thing. Again, what you fail to do is that where are they proselytizing and adding people and asking people to? They don't do that. If you want to study under them, if you want to study under Dr. Ricchetti, you're going to learn a language. If you want to study under Infidisi, the first thing you're going to do is learn a language. If you study with some of these Kemetic Christians, you're going to read the Hosea,
You're being
right?
so harsh, my brother. They're not committed Christians. You know that very well. You know that very well. They're not committed
Well,
Christians.
you keep talking to me like you my age and like you know you
No,
know.
I'm not. Come on, don't.
You
Why
keep
would you say
talking to
that,
me
Reggie?
like I wasn't
What?
around when Dr. Ben was around and Dr. Clark
No,
was around and gave those people some guidance.
no, but no, no. Don't accuse me of that. That's not fair.
But I'm
Like,
telling you, you're making a mistake thinking that I'm your age.
no, I'm
I'm not
not.
your
I know
age.
very well you were way older than me. I know that very well. I
I
always
was
give you the proper
around
respect,
when
don't I?
Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark had these conversations with them when they was walking around with the Purdom Haru like it was their Bible. I was around. I was a sergeant of arms in ASCAC, Eastern Region, where they actually had words and conflicts. So I was there when Dr. Ben talked to Dr. Milana Karenga and Dr. Jacob Crothers. And these are the respectable people. But then there's the people on the sidelines that was in costumes and things like that, which who weren't scholars, who barely knew the meta nature. If you take away the transliterations and the translations in the Book of the Dead, they couldn't get through the first page. But they're the
Yeah,
ones.
I get that, but the knowledge of the meta nature or present doing I have trouble pronouncing that word proselytizing. Um, that doesn't that's something different than the spirituality being labeled bullshit, because that spirituality that those people you label committed Christian are following or trying to follow is the same one that Mfudishi and Rikedi Amen are following.
Yeah, you don't know what they're following because you don't. Why don't you have you talked
Well,
to Infidus?
it's safe to say that they are following the Kemetic writings, right? The Medu Nature. They are following
Um,
what is said in the
I
Medu
I have
Nature.
a
It's safe
problem.
to say.
Stop talking about them unless you've actually talked to them. Stop. Just don't keep that narrative. Right.
Okay, well, my question is would you tell them
I
that
have
they're
I have
following
I have
bullshit
known Dr.
spirituality?
Ricchetti since
Yeah,
1985.
but my question is just would you
Wait,
tell
wait, won't
her?
you listen to me? She has never asked me to worship. She never directed me to worship. She only talked about the beauty of the ancient language of those Africans. Right? And what she wanted from you was good work.
Mhm.
Good work, right? And if she asked you to defend your work on the writing, then that's all that she required. Outside of that, she had a personal life. She's married, right? She has a
I don't want to get
family.
into that.
But when I'm just, you don't want to get into it because you don't know,
No, I don't want
right?
to get into a
And
personal life. I'm not talking
yeah,
about a personal life.
then what are you out? What are you talking about? You're talking about her community. What community is she in?
I'm well,
Look, I'm
like,
not
like
talking to you no more about Dr. Ricchetti. Infidisi, you know what community he's in, right? Uh, why don't have you interviewed him?
no. I don't
Interview
even
him.
have his contact, but I mean, eventually that might come around. But I'd rather people come and say what's up. I don't really.
Dr.
Uh,
Ricchetti, Infidisi, they are different. in what they do.
I had email exchanges with Dr. Richetti years back. It was a very brief conversation, but not yet with Mfudishi. But
Yeah,
it's safe to say that Mfudishi is dealing with the Kemetic spirituality, and I doubt that you will tell him that it is bullshit spirituality. So I'm just respectfully expressing my disagreement with what I will label some double standard.
I don't have no double standard. You see me talking to Infidesha in public. I don't have no double standard
But do you tell him it's bullshit spirituality though?
because I'm not talking about what he does.
I get it then. So he does something different than the ones you call committed Christians then, and I understand that, and I'm good. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, he's
But
doing.
still, I feel like it's harsh to call them committed Christians. I'm like, man,
Why? They need Christianity. They need Christianity to survive. They have to talk about how Christianity is really Kemetic, so that they can bring people into the right way.
Ashra
If you want to talk
Kwesi,
about Kemet,
Ashra Kwesi has been doing that for 30 years plus. He doesn't get that criticism. You know,
Ashwa Kwesi is listen. Ashwa Kwesi does tours. One,
yeah, yeah.
two.
But he has one DVD called "Christianity: The Stolen Religion from Africa" or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, but he does his stuff is intertwined with masonry. A lot of it,
It's
right?
true. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was under Dr. Ben. Yeah, what is it called? What is it called again? The Craft of Amen Ra. That's Ashra Kwesi stuff. But he was under Dr. Ben.
Yeah.
That yeah. So actually, Alim Bey on his page, I forgot the name of the website. He shows a picture of Dr. Ben with a fez on, and he alleges that Dr. Ben is, or let's say was, because he has transited, a Mason. You know, I don't
He
know if
was
you're
a
aware of that.
Shriner. He wasn't just a mason. He was a Shriner.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Shriners, um, um,
He's a 33
I,
degree
I, I,
mason.
I think Shriners are Masons, but not all Masons are Shriners. I think that's the quote we have
He's
from
a
the.
high mason, and he's part of
Yeah.
another system.
Mm.
So
So
Aline Bay, I brought Dr. Ben to his debate with
we
Sarasun
said
said,
it. Yeah, I've
I
seen the
brought Dr.
footage.
Ben there.
Yeah, I've seen the video of that. Yeah, I've seen the
Yeah,
video.
I brought him there. And I took
Yeah.
him home. He said, Reggie, I want to leave. I'm tired of this. It don't make no sense. So he decided halfway in, after eating his food, listen to what he said to say. He says, I
Well,
got
it was tired. This video of him sleeping, so I guess maybe he wanted to have rest. I don't think it's necessarily because he didn't like
he
what he
was
was hearing.
listening. He's 80 something. He was 80 something. He's disinterested.
No, there's a video. I remember seeing a video. He was sleeping, and it's not, to attack
In
him or
that
to say.
video or another video?
It was that debate.
Yeah, he was disinterested. So he called me. He did like this, Brother Reggie.
So did he tell you what he didn't like? Was it the Morris side, or was Seti's presentation or Alimbe's presentation?
It was both.
Well, okay. So you say. So you say. We don't have no way of verifying that, and I'm not alleging that you're not being truthful, but um, we have seen Dr. Ben and Seti together. So
Oh my
uh,
God.
isn't it
Oh
true?
my
It's true.
God.
It's true. We've seen them together.
Oh
They
my.
know each other. They knew each other. They were acquainted. You know, isn't it true? Isn't it true, brother Reggie?
When I met Dr. Ben, I was 21. Dr. Ben was about close to 60,
Hmm.
60 something. Dr. Clark was already, I don't know if he was 70, 71, 70, 80, 70 something to 80 years old. Professor Smalls was 39, and Dr. Jeffries was about 45, 50, something like that. Um, through my years of knowing them, I have never seen Sarasun Seti in New York with Dr. Ben. That doesn't mean that did not occur. but I knew all of Dr. Ben's students, and I know the members of the craft, and many of them know me, especially the most worshipful masters and those
Mm,
groups of people.
mm. Please, can you
So
just say the name of the craft, just so that we know?
no, I don't want to.
Okay, fine.
And the craft of Ashraquazi, I heard, was the craft of
Craft of
Amun.
Amen Ra. Yeah, indeed.
The other craft,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah, but Dr. Ben was part of the Order of the Egyptian Mystery Systems and OES. That's what he was. That was his craft. That wasn't the craft that he created for the people that he brought in. He brought in. He created a craft for people to bring in, but he was part of another craft. And I was looking for his. I was looking for his his gravestone, which maybe I show that another time. But when I'm talking to you're younger, and I'm talking to a younger audience. Sometimes I unfortunately say more than I should because it's just in my memory. Um, but to say that you're a student of Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan, what type of student? Student in the university, student in the community, student of a craft, student of a student, right? What type of student are you? And what is your personal relationship with him? It's the off camera relationship that is more important than the photo ops. The off camera relationship with Dr. Ben is oftentimes you interact with not the worshiper, most worshipful master. You operate with it within his students as they and then just because Dr. Ben is a man, occasionally you interact with him personally.
Mm. I
I
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, I really disagree with SETI saying that the meta nature has not been deciphered is something I could never understand. So I guess, uh, maybe he didn't know him that well, but, I just seen them together, and that's what I wanted to say. But, you know,
well, you said the important point. The
yeah.
fact of the matter is, if you knew the man and you actually worked with the man, then you would know what the man's teachings is, and you would know why. So one of the important things about and I have to get something to eat is
I
that
understand.
Georgie and James wrote the Stolen Legacy in their 10 virtues: control of thought, control of action, steadfast of purpose, identity with high ideas, evidence of mission, culture, spiritual order, freedom from resentment, facing the teacher, facing your own learning abilities. Those 10 things. So when I was interacting directly with Dr. Ben and interacting with some of his students, I wanted to know where these things are in the meta with text. And I got my answer. I got my answer, which is it's right in front of your face. You just know how to look, but you can't see. So personally, I was put on a journey to find those 10 things because he's saying you are like everybody else, brother Reggie. You're looking. You got two eyes. You got a nose and a mouth, and you smell, but you're looking and you can't see. So you go you go and find it, and we'll tell you if you saw. So um, I was able to fulfill my task. Not a lot of people get a task to fulfill, but I got a task, and to find it where it actually existed. So there you go. So ask those people around them. There's some people who have fulfilled some tasks, and there's some people who haven't. The way these systems work, all these systems work is basically the teacher gives you tasks. You don't fulfill the task, you don't you don't progress. I could tell you a task that I fulfilled. So
Feel
y'all
free, brother.
have a nice day. It was a pleasure.
You've been around, brother. Thank you.
It's,
Thanks a lot for coming. Thanks a
have
lot.
a good day. All
Same
right.
to you, brother Reggie.
Peace to the audience. Peace to you, Shaka and Dougal Kemet. We
Peace to
will
you, brother
battle.
Reggie.
And listen, as I leave, uh, Dr. Issa, you don't have to advertise, but Dr. Issa and Dr. Faraji did make a rebuttal. The people should, if you have a chance, put it up.
Yeah, well, I will put it here. I've already put it in the other video, but I'm going to do that. Hold
Yeah,
on.
just so that people can see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to do that. It would take me just a few seconds, really. Um,
And I respect all of them. It's just I respect all of their scholarships, but put their conversations up so that you can learn from both groups of people.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But once again, I've read it. I've read the response, and I've shared the link to the response. But I'm going to share it again in the chat here. So I'm going to put Dr.
No,
Ahi.
you went over it on a video. You went over it. You went over Dr. Campone's response on the video. Go over on
It's
the
critique,
video.
not his response. It's critique.
Yeah, his
I,
critique. So go over
yeah.
their response to the critique on video, so that
Come
people
again.
can see it.
Come again.
You took the time out to
Yeah.
do a video
Yes.
on Dr. Cambone's critique.
Yes.
I am saying take the time out to do a video on their response.
Uh, I'm under no obligation to do that. It wasn't my critique. It was Dr. Campbell's critique. So if people have an issue with that, they can deal with that. And
That's
once
some
again,
slick stuff, bro.
well,
That's
you
slick.
can say that is fine. I accept that. But once again, their response, I was aware of it a few minutes before I started going live. And the way I showed it earlier, they don't even put it, as if people want to search for it, how would they find it? It
Okay, you
says
say, okay, I'm gonna go. You my brother, you my young brother. I gotta continue working with you, bro. Right?
But for the record here, so you can see before you leave, I've put it, and it's a clickable link because I'm obviously the owner of this channel. So in the chat, it will show as a clickable link. So as soon as people click on it, they will be directly directed to the response of Dr. Jahi Issa and Dr. Faraji.
Salim Faraji.
Yes, for Salim Faraji. Yes. So
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna try to keep working with you, bro. I'm gonna keep working with you, bro. Peace to you.
Face to you, brother Reggie. Hotep sen.
Okay,
All
okay.
right. So